Inside cabins get treated like the cheap option, but many experienced cruisers choose them on purpose. If you care more about sleeping well than staring at the ocean from your bed, an inside cabin could be the smartest pick on the ship. It stays darker, quieter, and more comfortable when the schedule gets busy. Early ports, late shows, and midday rest. And the money you save can go toward things you actually enjoy. But what is an inside cabin? An inside cabin is a standard cruise stateroom located on the interior of the ship, which simply means it has no window or no balcony. You still get the basics you actually live on: a real bed, a private bathroom, storage, climate control, daily housekeeping, and the same access to every deck, show, restaurant, and lounge as everyone else. On many ships, the layout is nearly identical to an ocean view cabin, just without the glass. People avoid inside cabins for a few predictable reasons. First, they worry it will feel closed in or dark in a bad way. Second, they assume the room will be smaller or lower quality, even when the difference is mainly the view. Third, they picture getting stuck in the cabin without sunlight or losing that peaceful morning moment watching the ocean. And finally, there's the social pressure. Cruises get marketed around balconies, so inside cabins feel like you're settling, when really, you're choosing function over a feature. But once you understand how cruises actually feel day to day, you realize an inside cabin can be the smartest, most comfortable choice. So let's get into the reasons. Reason number 1, you don't get woken up in port. Port days sound fun on paper. In real life, they start early. Even if your excursion is at 10, the ship might be docking at 6 or 7. That's when the behind-the-scenes part of cruising kicks in. Lines tightening, engines adjusting, tugboats nearby, crew activity on the pier, carts rolling, and the general hum of a ship switching from sea mode to port mode. Now, if you're in an ocean view or balcony cabin, you can end up closer to that noise than you expected. Sometimes it's not even loud in a dramatic way. It's just enough to keep nudging you awake. A little vibration, a metal clank, a low engine rumble, and if you're a light sleeper, that's all it takes to turn vacation sleep into a broken, shallow night. Now, this is where inside cabins quietly win. They're naturally darker and more insulated from the outside world. That no window thing people fear, it can become your best friend when you're trying to sleep through early docking and wake up on your own schedule. Here's the bigger point. Cruises are energy games. If you sleep well, you enjoy more. Breakfast tastes better, walking the ports feels easier, and you're not cranky by mid-afternoon. If you sleep badly, day 2 can feel like you're already behind, even though you're on vacation. Here's a quick tip. If you know you'll do late shows, early ports, or back-to-back excursions, prioritize sleep like it's part of the itinerary. An inside cabin helps you do that without extra effort. You close the door, it's dark, and your body finally gets to recover. And if port mornings aren't the only thing that messes with comfort, the next reason is even more underrated. Reason number 2. No salt air or humidity in your room. Now, balcony cabins sound like pure luxury. Fresh air, ocean breeze, that morning coffee moment. But here's the part people don't mention. Cruise air is often humid, and salty air doesn't always play nice with a small room. If you're the type who likes opening the balcony door a lot, that outside air can creep in and stick around. On certain routes and seasons, the humidity can make your bedding feel slightly damp. Towels take longer to dry, and the room can get that faint ocean moisture vibe. It's not guaranteed, and it's not a disaster, but it's one of those comfort details that can quietly annoy you, especially at night. Inside cabins are simpler. You're not constantly bringing in outside air, so the room tends to stay more consistent. It can feel closer to a hotel room. Dry sheets, stable air, and fewer random changes in how the space feels from hour to hour. And this matters more than people think because sleep comfort is picky. If you climb into bed and the sheets feel even a little clammy, Your brain clocks it. If the room feels slightly sticky, you notice it when you're trying to relax. It's small, but small things add up on a cruise when you're doing long run days, big meals, and lots of walking. Inside cabins can also be easier to keep fresh because the environment is controlled. You're not fighting the weather. You're not dealing with damp swimsuits near an open door. You're not letting warm air roll in and out every time someone wants a quick balcony check. Now here's a quick tip. If you're sensitive to humidity, pack a couple of magnetic hooks and use the bathroom or closet area for wet items so they dry neatly. The inside cabins handle that routine surprisingly well. And speaking of routines, reason 3 is where inside cabins really start feeling like a cheat code. Reason number 3, better for shift sleepers and naps. Now, cruise days don't run on a normal schedule. One night you're up late at a show. The next morning you're up early for a port. Then you come back tired, eat lunch, and suddenly a nap sounds like the best idea you've had all week. The problem is, naps are hard when your room is bright. In an ocean view or balcony cabin, sunlight can turn your room into a glowing box. Even with curtains, there's often enough light leaking in to tell your brain, it's daytime, stay awake. Now that's great if you want to be up and moving, not great if you want a deep, restorative rest. Inside cabins are naturally dark. That's the whole advantage. They can feel like a blackout hotel room, which makes quick naps easier and deeper. And it's not only about naps. If you're someone who sleeps in chunks, like an early bedtime, then later sleep-in time, then a midday rest, an inside cabin supports that kind of flexible schedule. This is also huge for anyone cruising with a packed plan. Maybe you want to do trivia, a cooking demo, a pool break, a nice dinner, and a show. That sounds fun, until you realize you need recovery time to keep enjoying it. A strong nap can save the entire evening. Here's a simple way to think about it. Inside cabins help you reset fast. You walk in from the noise, close the door, and your body gets the signal to slow down. No bright light, no visual distractions, just quiet. Quick tip, don't fight the nap. Build it into the day. Even 20 minutes can make you feel sharper. And because the room is already dark, you're not spending time trying to make the space nap-friendly. And now that you've got the sleep benefits locked in, the next reason is about something people don't expect. Fewer interruptions. Reason number 4, housekeeping disturbs you less. Cruise cabins are small, which means every little interruption feels bigger than it would in a hotel. A knock on the door, a hallway announcement, a cart rolling past. Those things can break your rest fast, especially if you're trying to nap between activities or sleep in after a late night. One underrated advantage of an inside cabin is how simple the setup is. With balcony cabins, there can be more reasons for quick check-ins and extra activity around the room. Not always, not on every sailing, but enough that many cruisers notice the difference. Balcony rooms are more likely to be used as a hangout spot, which means people go in and out more, doors open more, and the room just stays active. Inside cabins tend to become what they're best at, a true recharge station. You go in, you rest, you reset. That simpler rhythm often translates into fewer moments where you feel like you have to manage the room. You're not stepping out to check the air. You're not doing the quick balcony peek. And you're not tempted to treat the cabin like a lounge. Also, there's a psychological benefit here that's real. When you're in an inside cabin, you're more likely to put the Do Not Disturb sign up and mean it. You're not thinking, what if I miss something outside? You're thinking, this is my rest block. That mindset is powerful on a cruise where days are full and sleep can get chopped up. Now, quick tip, use the cabin like a scheduled reset. If you plan a nap, put the sign out and commit to it. Keep a small routine, lights low, phone on silent, and one alarm. Inside cabins make this easier because the environment is already working with you, not against you. Now, if you're enjoying this breakdown, please hit like and subscribe. It truly helps the channel so we can keep making clear, practical cruise tips like this. And once your rest feels protected, the next benefit is about something even more important than comfort: peace of mind. Reason number 5, safer for families with kids. Balconies look amazing in photos, but if you're traveling with kids, they can add a quiet layer of worry that never fully turns off. Even if you trust your child, even if the door has locks, even if you're careful, the brain still knows a balcony exists. That means you're doing extra mental math the whole trip. Who's in the room? Is the door locked? Are they old enough to understand the rules every single time? An inside cabin removes that category of stress. No balcony door to monitor. No just 1 second moment when a kid gets curious. And no late night scenario where you wake up and immediately check the room. It's not about being dramatic. It's about how relaxing a vacation feels when you're not constantly scanning for what could go wrong. This also matters for sleep quality, especially for parents. If you're sleeping lightly because part of you is on alert, you don't fully recover. You wake up tired, which makes the whole day feel harder. Inside cabins can help parents actually rest, which makes everything else smoother. Breakfast, excursions, long walks in port, evening shows, and patience when plans change. Inside cabins can also be easier for consistent routines. The darkness helps kids fall asleep earlier when needed. It's easier to create a calm bedtime environment without bright sunlight sneaking in. And if you need a quiet nap window for a child during the day, the room is already nap ready. A quick tip: if you're cruising with kids, bring a small nightlight. Inside cabins are dark, which is great for sleep, but a soft nightlight makes it easier to move around without waking everyone up. And if you're not cruising with kids, the next reason is a comfort upgrade that hits everyone: temperature. Reason number 6, easier temperature control at night. Sleep on a cruise can be amazing if your cabin stays comfortable. The problem is that some cabins are more affected by outside conditions than others. Sun exposure, heat, humidity, and even how often a door opens can change how the room feels, especially at night when you're trying to stay cool and consistent. Inside cabins tend to be more stable. They're not getting direct sunlight through a window. You're not opening a balcony door and letting warm, humid air rush in. The room stays in a more controlled bubble, which makes it easier to keep the temperature where you want it. That might sound like a small detail, but it's the kind of small detail that decides whether you sleep straight through or wake up at 2 a.m. feeling too warm. On a cruise, you're doing a lot. Walking more than usual, eating later than usual, staying up for shows, waking up early for ports. Your body needs recovery. Temperature stability is one of the fastest ways to protect that recovery. And another underrated part: stable temperature makes the cabin feel calmer. When a room is fluctuating, warm, then cool, then warm again, you feel it even if you don't consciously notice why you're restless. Inside cabins reduce that. It's steady, predictable, and easier to set and forget. Quick tip: don't blast the thermostat the first night. Set it slightly cooler than you think you need, then adjust in small steps. Inside cabins respond well to tiny changes because the environment isn't constantly being influenced by outside air. Now that sleep and comfort are handled, the next reason flips the biggest criticism of inside cabins into a surprising advantage. It can actually make your cruise feel bigger and more fun. Reason number 7, great for first-time cruisers because it makes you explore. One of the most common first cruise mistakes is thinking the cabin is the main event. It's understandable. People book their room months in advance, watch cabin tours, compare balcony views, and imagine spending a lot of time there. But once you're on board, the ship becomes the real experience. The shows, the lounges, the decks, the music, the quiet corners with the best views. Those are the moments that make a cruise feel special. An inside cabin nudges you into that reality in the best way. Since you're not paying for a private view, you naturally seek out the best public spaces. You find the observation deck at the perfect time. You discover the tucked away lounge where the ocean looks like a movie screen. You learn which deck is calm in the morning and which one gets the sunset glow. Instead of treating your cabin as a destination, you treat it like what it's meant to be, a comfortable reset zone. This is especially helpful on your first cruise because it trains you to use the ship well. You start noticing what your ship offers. You build a rhythm, breakfast somewhere with a view, a mid-morning walk outside, a quiet spot to sit and read, a show at night. You're not missing anything by skipping the balcony. You're gaining the habit of exploring. There's also a sneaky emotional benefit. The cruise feels larger. People who spend more time in the room sometimes feel like they've seen everything too quickly. But when you're out in the ship's spaces, moving between decks and venues, the trip feels fuller, more variety, more atmosphere, more little discoveries. Quick tip: on day one, take a slow lap around the ship and pick 2 favorite spots, one for mornings and one for evenings. Inside cabin cruisers do this naturally, and it upgrades the whole trip. And if you're the kind of cruiser who plans to be out and busy most of the day, the final reason makes inside cabins an easy win. Reason number 8. Perfect for busy, port-heavy itineraries. Some cruises are ship trips. Others are destination trips. If your itinerary is packed with ports, excursions, and long days off the ship, your cabin becomes a tool, not a lifestyle. You're using it to sleep, shower, change, and recharge. That's it. In that kind of cruise, paying extra for a balcony can be like paying for a gym membership you never use. It looks good in theory, but the value disappears once the schedule starts. Port-heavy cruises often mean early mornings and tired returns. You wake up, grab breakfast, and head out. You come back in the afternoon, clean up, maybe rest, then go out again for dinner or a show. Your best memories come from the places you visited and what you did, not from sitting in your room. Inside cabins match that reality. They give the strongest sleep environment, which matters more when you're doing big walking days. And they usually save you a meaningful chunk of money. And that savings can go toward the parts of the cruise you'll actually use. A special excursion, a nicer dinner, a thermal spa pass, better Wi-Fi for peace of mind, or even just extra cushion in your budget so you feel relaxed instead of counting every purchase. There's also a mindset shift that happens when you book inside for a busy itinerary. You stop expecting the cabin to provide the wow. You let the ship and the ports provide it. And that's the whole point of cruising in the first place. If your plan is to be out exploring all day, an inside cabin isn't a downgrade. It's a smart match for the way you're actually traveling. Making the most of your inside cabin. Now that you've learned the benefits of an inside cabin, here's how to make it feel genuinely comfortable from day one. First, treat lighting like your best friend. Keep one warm, soft light on when you're awake, and avoid using the brightest ceiling light unless you're getting dressed. A small nightlight is perfect for bathroom trips without waking fully. Second, create a simple morning cue. Because there's no window, your body won't get that natural sunrise signal. Set an alarm you actually like. Then open your phone flashlight or bedside lamp for 30 seconds to tell your brain it's time to start the day. Third, use the cabin for what it does best: recovery. If you're napping, commit to it. Put up the Do Not Disturb sign, silence notifications, and set one alarm. Inside cabins work because they're a reset button. Don't fight the design. Fourth, keep the room feeling fresh. Hang wet items neatly. Keep shoes in one spot, and use a small pouch for everyday essentials so surfaces stay clear. A tidy cabin feels twice as big. Finally, plan one view moment each day on purpose. Sunrise on deck, a quiet lounge with windows, or a short evening walk outside. That way you still get the ocean magic, but you're not paying extra just to access it. If this helped you choose the right cabin with confidence, hit subscribe and give this video a like. It really supports the channel. Drop a comment and tell me which cabin you usually book. And when you're ready, click the next video on your screen for more cruise tips. Remember, your voyage is just beginning.